Hello, I'm Lowell Martin, and this is MCC Today. No animals were hurt in the making of this program. On today's show, we have Bethany, Bratu, Matt Milner, and Tasha Keys. You're going to want to watch this. You will learn a lot. Your head will explode.
Find your wings. It's more than just a hashtag.
It's the power of knowledge in our state-of-the-art classrooms.
It's skills training for a competitive job market.
It's the best nursing program in the state.
It's home runs, buzzer beaters, and the thrill of victory.
And MCC walks it off.
It's not just a hashtag. How do I know? Because I found my wings.
And we have Miss Bethany Bratu here today. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, what is your official title here?
So I'm the Support Services Proctor.
You are the Support Services Proctor, which means what?
Whenever we have a student that has any sort of accommodation due to their disability, whether it's physical, mental, or a learning disability, they get accommodations, and part of some of their accommodations could be that they get extended test time or individual testing privileges. So when we have students that meet those accommodations, they come see me for all their testing. So they'll give me a phone call, stop by the office, email me, say, hey, I've got this chemistry test next week. I want to take it around 9 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So we have a special area that we test in.
We do, and that area is in the Holiday E-Learning Center, and we have, is it some little rooms available?
Yes, we have 10 individual rooms. It's like a little block, and there's 10 rooms. They each have their own desk with a desktop if you have a computerized test, and they have a door on them, so it's very private. It's not soundproof, but it's a very quiet area, and it's just me and Holly Purvis back there usually. So we monitor them through security cameras. And if they have any questions or concerns, I'm right there to come help them. Okay.
Now, if someone should feel that they need your services or the services of our disability coordinator, how do they go about getting those services?
If the student feels like they need services for accommodations, they have to self-identify first.
Okay. Which is a big difference from high school.
Yes. In K through 12, a teacher, another member of faculty could, pull them aside, get with their parents, create a 504, an IEP, anything like that, and recommend services that way. Once you get to higher education, you have to self-identify, which means you've got to come into the office, send us an email, give us a phone call. Now,
may I just say this is not an overnight process either.
It can take a couple days. We've had some where it's taken a whole month to get everything in line. But their instructors can if their instructor feels like they're struggling, they can let us know about it, but they have to encourage the student to come see us. We can't go pluck them out of the population and everything. So they would come by the office, give us a phone call, send us an email. What do I need to do? I'm really struggling. It's like, okay, well, what do you have going on physically, mentally learning? Do you have dyslexia? Do you have ADHD? Are you legally blind? It could be an array of things. And then when we get with them, there's some paperwork that we need to gain, documentation of their disability. And then once we have all that, we evaluate it, see what their doctor recommends, and we move from there deciding what accommodations MCC can provide. Reasonable accommodations.
And the whole notion is to allow for a level playing field, right? So reasonable, as you said, reasonable accommodations.
Yes, so like you have someone who could be a neurotypical person who doesn't have ADHD, they don't have anxiety, they don't have a learning disability, anything like that. They're considered normal. So they're at this level. Anyone that's got a disability faces a disadvantage to varying degrees. So what we want to do is we want to lift them here to give them the same opportunities that a quote-unquote normal student would receive.
So that, and as you said before at the very beginning, that could include, time and a half to test. That could include testing in a place, completely by yourself,
Yes.
so that you don't have any kind of distractions going on. Because for a number of students, that is very, very important.
Yes, because like if you have a student that has ADHD, that quiet testing area is so important to their success. When they have ADHD, they get distracted by this classmate over here is clicking their pen or tapping their keypad or anything like that, and then they get so distracted by that, they start getting anxious because they're like, oh, I'm running out of time, I'm not paying attention. They get stressed out and they can end up doing worse on a test. Whereas if they have those individual rooms, then they can focus better. And it's just them, and they can maybe talk to themselves if they like to talk to themselves, whereas if they're in a classroom setting, they'd get accused of cheating. So it works out, for them to succeed. That's all we want, is to see these students succeed. And
we have been very successful in getting students to succeed.
Yes.
I really do think that we're one of the, we're at the forefront of, because we've always offered a lot of disability services. We've always acknowledged and said we want to help as much as we possibly can. I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit, because we used to do something and I don't know if we still do it. Things like having a note taker.
Yes.
Do we still offer that possibly?
Yes. So what your accommodations depend entirely on what you and your doctor think you need.
Okay.
It's all about the doctor's recommendation. Now, if your doctor recommends that you need a note taker in the classroom, we're going to find you a note taker.
Okay.
It could be one of our Ivy Leaguer students, it could be me, it could be our Disability Support Services coordinator. We will find someone to accompany you to your classes and get your notes taken, or we can get notes provided to you through the instructor. It all depends on the situation. But that is a possibility.
I remember being in class and I would ask another student who I knew took good notes, and I'd say, can we make a copy of your notes for that? And it could be something as simple as that.
Yes, even when I was a student, I had an instructor ask me if he could make a copy of my notes for a student that had missed class, so it could be something as simple as that. Now the student does, if they have a note taker, if they're getting copies of their notes from someone, they still have to be paying attention in class. If they're sleeping through class or skipping class because like, oh, well, I'm going to get the notes anyways, we can take that accommodation away because you still have to be participating.
Okay. Now when they're trying to get accommodations, and they have a doctor's, who has said they need accommodations, is there a time frame, like if they have something from a doctor that's like 6 months old, will they need to go to again to get something closer to the time that they're asking for the services?
No,
that made no sense, and it went around the world.
No, I know what you meant because it does come up. Because
yes.
So usually the form that we have to give students to fill out by their doctor, it is usually the assessment must be current, so within the last 3 years.
Okay.
Now there's extenuating circumstances, like if we have a student that has dyslexia, they were evaluated in 2014, and we have their current IEP or 504 from high school, and we have that original assessment. Dyslexia just doesn't go away.
Right.
And so there's, we can take that into consideration and be like, well, we do have this very recent documentation. And even though that assessment is older, we can work with them on getting them the accommodations that they need, because just because they have an assessment from several years ago, that's one of those things that it'll stay with you forever. And we want that student to succeed.
And we do want and that's the whole purpose of this, is to get them to where they can succeed. Now, again, I want to stress that a student has to self-identify.
Yes.
They have to come. So if they have been in a class during the semester and suddenly they decide they want accommodations, they have to give you a certain amount of time and provide the doctors and all of this to get those accommodations.
Yes.
It's not going to be something that happens immediately.
Yes, we take new students in all the time. They provide their documentation. It just, how much documentation you can get and how quickly is a big factor into it. Sometimes it takes your doctor several days to get back to you. Sometimes it can take longer. It's all up to human choice, error, desire, need.
Thank you. Listen, thank you so much for being with us
course.
today. And I want to have you on again to talk about this again, to make, anybody who wants it, it's available. Just make sure you get in the paperwork you need to get in.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Meridian Community College. For more than 75 years, we've helped students soar. Establishing the first tuition guarantee program in Mississippi, we put our students first, while creating pathways into the workforce and offering a seamless transition to a 4-year degree. Now is the time to find your purpose and register today, because those who move forward never get left behind. MCC, find your wings.
And we are here with Miss Tasha Keys. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm doing well. Now this is a mouthful. You are the Director of Clinical Education for the Respiratory Care Program.
Yes.
And you have been here just a few months, right?
I have, actually 6 months.
How's it going?
Oh, I absolutely love it. The environment is very family oriented here, and I absolutely love the students.
They can be both the best. No, I love my students. I truly do. But there are those moments when you're like, really?
I know, and we do have those.
But now, so what exactly do you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I am a actual respiratory therapist. I've been in the field for about 25 years.
Okay.
But here at the college, I do didactic teaching along with clinical teaching. So I coordinate all the clinical schedules with our affiliates so the students can actually apply what they've learned in the classroom, in the lab, in a real-time setting and get some experience.
And I know that we try to go into different types of settings for them. How important is that for students in their education?
Oh, it is extremely important. Being that our profession, we deal with a lot of high-tech technology equipment such as life support, ventilators. I know a lot of people have become familiar with our profession since the COVID pandemic. So it is instrumental that our students are permitted the opportunity to actually get in these clinical settings and perform and learn in real time a lot of the things that they learn in the lab and in the classroom. And also it's kind of like an everyday interview because what we do here is very important with workforce development, so it gets them directly prepared for immediate employment into the community. And
immediate employment, you are necessary workers, very good salaries when they can get it, so there's so many benefits to completing this program and doing well in the program. Do you find yourself, and I found myself as a teacher, and I'm not in respiratory, or anything like that, but, remembering how you learned it.
Oh,
do you try to, because there are some people and they're like, okay, this is the best way to do it. There's no other way to do it. And then there are others that are like, no, I think we can do a little bit better. How do you approach the teaching?
Well, with our students, they're of various ages. We have a very large age group, so we have them varying from early 20s to late 30s and 40s. So what I have to do is kind of tailor the learning needs to the different generations because they all learn differently. And I try to put everything in a practical perspective for them to kind of get the information. And technology is forever changing, so we have to use those continuing education opportunities to incorporate that also into the didactic and clinical environment.
Do you find that they are very good about helping each other?
They are very team oriented, and that's something that I actually promote, as they will be a critical member of a healthcare team when they get out into the real workforce. Because the ultimate goal is patient care, and it has to be a continuity of care. So they have to learn to work alongside physicians and nurses and other healthcare professionals. So teamwork is absolutely essential.
And I think that with you putting them in different environments and working, that also gets a number of personalities, a number of where they can work with and see the various personalities that you have to work with sometimes.
Absolutely, and they learn about communication very, very early and how to communicate.
Did you find yourself when you started teaching saying or remembering something in particular that, you know, as it was taught to you and saying, you know, I'm going to do that differently. I'm going to do differently with that because I think I can do differently with that. Do you find yourself doing that occasionally?
I do, and I often try to convey to the students that personality carries them a long way when it comes to patients because there are a lot of things that the patients are experiencing when they're in the hospital environment. We have to think about their dignity. You know, they're in there, they're trusting us to care for them. So we have to kind of gain their trust also. So learning how to talk to them, that plays a very, very critical role. So I try to tell them, look, I know you guys have probably seen it this way, or you're probably used to doing it this way, but kind of get to know your patients in that little length of time that you have with them so they can understand you.
Well, if we have someone watching who's thinking about going to school and they don't really know what they want to do, and, you know, how can you say, well, hey, why don't you think about this respiratory, this program that we're, you know, are there any like characteristics of people out there and you're like, you know, you might want to think about this program. It might be a good fit for you.
Oh, yes,
what kind of characteristics would they have?
Absolutely, yes, they would have to actually have a passion for taking care of people, period, and a love for technology. We deal with a lot of equipment, as I said, life support equipment and oxygen that people have become very familiar with since the COVID-19 pandemic. We were actually the unsung heroes of the pandemic, and we actually have a lot of roles, especially in the hospital. We work in the emergency room where we do life-saving treatments, and we work with trauma operating rooms along anesthesiologists to monitor breathing. We work in sleep labs with people that have sleep apnea and sleep disorders. There's just a number of roles that we do. The premature babies as well, and adults. So if you have a love and a passion for taking care of people and working with cutting edge technology, then we can breathe life into your career here at MCC.
And this is something where you will never want for work.
Absolutely not.
You will have work.
Absolutely not, because before COVID, lung disease was actually the 4th leading cause, unfortunately, of death here in the U.S. Since COVID, though, our profession has actually taken off. So it's a very rewarding profession, and it's also, you know, good with the salary as well. So.
Yes, you know, and I tell students all the time, it's like if you're trying to find yourself or if you don't know, you know, education will never hurt you.
Oh,
education
absolutely not.
will never hurt you, and no matter what you do, there will be a use for it. You might think that you don't need something at this moment, but at some point in your life, it's going to come back and it's going to help you.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I want to have you back because I want to continue this conversation, okay?
Absolutely, my pleasure.
We'll be right back.
Not essential. Never let anyone tell you that again. Never doubt your abilities to make a difference. How do I know this about you? Because I'm a teacher. I am the one who will push you harder and farther than you could have ever imagined. Teach you things that you never thought possible. And if you will give me 100%, then I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and together we will change your future. MCC, find your wings.
And we are here. We have Mr. Matt Milner. How you doing?
We're going to find out after we're done recording how I'm doing.
He is the executive producer of this show, but you wear many hats.
Yes.
Gloves, socks. You wear all kinds of stuff. What do you do here at Meridian Community College?
Primarily, I do all the video stuff here at the college.
And we have a lot.
Live streams.
A lot.
Yes.
A lot of video.
Which is a good problem to have.
It is. It is. But what kind of things do we do? You videotape or do we live stream?
So like I said, we do commercials, athletic events. Yesterday we did the Women's Month celebration down there. We live streamed that. So we're now live streaming more things than we've ever live streamed before. We're videoing more things than we've ever done before. You could catch all those videos at youtube.com/Meridian Community College. Cheap plug for our YouTube channel
There
there.
you go. Yes.
And we also do MCC Today. The students are back there completely on their own, running it. I trust them 100%. Hopefully they put my title here. I believe they put something cool underneath just for me. Hopefully I'm not clipping in my mic and all that stuff.
Maybe, yeah. Now you've been here how long?
About a little over 3 years.
Okay, and in that time, I think we've seen an explosion of video.
My brain? Yeah.
And your brain.
Yes.
But and this was kind of happening pre-COVID. But during COVID, we couldn't meet, so we needed a lot more video.
Yes.
And you stepped up to the plate, because I remember with the MLK celebration, he did such a great program. You did such a great program for us last year, I believe it was.
I'll make sure you get your extra tip after the show for plugging that. Yes.
Thank you. But where do you see us going? Where do you see it continuing?
Well,
is there more work for you?
We've now put up a tri-catcher down in our culinary.
Okay.
We have a tri-catcher that's going into the theater, in the
tri
McCain
what?
Theater. It's a tri-catcher. That's what we use to run the show back there. We have the big tri-catcher back there in the control room. That's where we do all of our live stream sports, everything. But we have some mini tri-catchers here that some of the departments themselves have purchased with their department money. And culinary now has one where they can switch between different cameras. The theater has one that we'll be installing here soon, where we can now do plays. We can do all the events that happen down there. Next week, in fact, or this week, if you happen to be watching us on Monday on YouTube, we have PTK that's going to be happening at 6 p.m. in the McCain Theater. The Hall of Fame is happening at 2 p.m. on Tuesday in the McCain Theater. So right now we just transport those mini tri-catchers and we can stream anything on campus that we can just plug the cameras directly into. But pretty soon we'll get the one in the McCain Theater plugged up, and then we have one of our very own where we can take it down to workforce like we did yesterday with the Women's Appreciation Celebration Month that we did down there. So that's one way that we're really getting more things, more eyes on MCC, or people are able to watch us on our
When you
live
said,
streams.
I kept thinking, why would you want to put one down in culinary? But do they do a lot of events?
So
if you don't
I
mind me
believe
asking?
Ann Howard is going to start doing a cooking show here soon, but it's also a way for her to be able to cook something here, and if our students can't all gather around her and try and see what she's doing, they can now start watching the monitors and start writing down what she's doing and being tested that way. So
hey, let's live stream the Success Center.
Oh yeah, we can watch everybody just studying
Everybody
down there.
coming in and studying. That'd be great. So we're doing that, okay? And what else do you see happening?
So I believe we just hired a new event coordinator, another recruiter here. So hopefully I'm going to try to work with them to hit the ground running on some more events that we can do here on campus. Just different things like maybe parade around campus, or different fun activities that dress up, play music, dance around. Just some of that fun campus life that you see at other colleges and other four-year schools and some other community colleges. We want to really hammer that here at MCC so that we can get the kids out of the dorm, or get the kids to stay here and enjoy our campus life instead of taking naps, or most of what my kids back there do. Get them to come out. And the other big thing is the athletics. We live stream all of our athletics. That's something that I really wanted to hit the ground running when I got here. Our basketball team playing in the Region 23 semifinals.
Yes.
That'll happen technically tomorrow, because we're filming on Thursday, but if you're watching this on Sunday or Monday, you already know the results of what happened, and hopefully we hoisted a championship trophy on Saturday. So
yes, and then if we get that, we go to nationals,
it'll
right?
be national tournament out in Kansas. So
okay. Do you get to go to that?
I'll go out to that, and I'll film our team out there. So
okay.
Fingers crossed that we get to be part of that.
Yes,
because
definitely.
Bringing a region championship here is going to be monumentally huge here for the campus, and getting to play the national tournament would be just as huge. Baseball's off to a great start.
It is.
Softball's off to a great start.
Yes.
Tennis is sweeping teams left and right. So
Yes.
track is breaking more national records out there. So athletics is really shining this season here.
Really
at,
doing
MCC.
very, very well. Yes.
And you can catch all of those at mcceagles.live. That's our streaming channel. And then for all the academic events, like I said yesterday, we did the Women's Appreciation. We did Black History Month. We do MLK. We do all those things. Those are all on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Meridian Community College.
Now, just out of curiosity, when was the last time you got a full night's sleep?
I never get a full night's sleep. As you can see, I am a larger gentleman, so I usually sleep for about 2 hours before my sleep apnea just wakes me up anyway. So, but no, I'm constant. I wish I drank coffee. I cannot stand the taste of coffee. And
tea?
My wife says she loves coffee, but as I watch her just pour, this much sugar, a whole cup full into it, I'm like, is it really even coffee anymore? No, I drink a lot of pop, and for you Southern folks out there, that is soda or Coke, But I, from the North, I drink a lot of pop, so that's how I keep my caffeine intake.
Okay. Well, listen, I want to thank you for being on the show today and letting us know what's going on, and hopefully they will start watching a lot more of the live streaming and a lot of the events on campus.
Yes.
And now you after this you can go back and crack the whip in the control room.
Exactly. On my way back. Thank you all.
But thank you for being here. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, the MCC Foundation Tuition Guarantee Program has provided students an opportunity to find their potential. Thousands of students have benefited from the program. Over $6 million have been invested in the students who learn and live right here in our community. This program is funded by individuals and businesses who believe in our students, our families, and the economic impact of an education at Meridian Community College. Now is your chance to offer support. Give today at meridiancc.edu/give.
On behalf of executive producer Matt Milner, media specialist Josh Taylor, and student producer Taryn Dumas, thank you for watching. Hope you learned something, and we'll see you next week.